person that I feel people should know more about and learn about is none other than Yuki Tabata. Yuki Tabata is a manga creator, author, as well as an artist. He was born July 30th, 1984, so at the time of this recording, he is 35 years old and was born in Fukuoka, Japan. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of that, and I'm deeply sorry. His catalog is very interesting, so I figure I would start there. Starting off with Gravekeeper Hakamori. There's not a lot of information on this manga when I did my research about it. It pretty much is a story about an unnamed robot who's taken up the position of like burying other robots who've fallen off the ruin. I don't really know. It's odd. It's an odd one. But the next one he would get more popularity from and even begin to become, I guess, kind of a household name in a way in Japan. And that is Hungry Joker. In 2011, Hungry Joker's one-shot issue won the Golden Future Cup Award. The series overall won 5th place, which basically brought him into serialization and helped him become gain more experience and even drop future works, his most popular at the time of this recording, Black Clover. But going back to Hungry Joker, you see his his motif of fantasy starts to play out. Hungry Joker is about a mysterious genius scientist named Heidi and his assistant, and they try to solve a mysterious glowing corpse. And through their adventures, Heidi comes to gain supernatural abilities by eating a black apple. With the popularity of Hungry Joker and his love for fantasy, he begins to become inspired after reading a hit manga, not by him, named Berserk. He liked the themes going on in Berserk and with fantasy and the mysticism that was going on in that story, he created his most popular work and my favorite work from him, Black Clover. Black Clover is a story about a kid named Asta who has no magical mana powers at all. He's an enigma, like a peasant. He is a peasant that has no powers, but everyone around him usually has powers. So he wants to become the strongest wizard in his kingdom, in the Clover Kingdom, which is the Wizard King. And so you see his journey of, training hard to become the best and best. And it's overall a really good story with some very realistic themes in them. While they have this common motif for fantasy, his stories really have this humanistic, socio-economic theme to it also, with royalty looking down onto the peasants and royalties having much more benefits of wealth, mana, power, while they deem the peasants as nothing but peasants, who shouldn't even be around. And it really connected with me because I was like, I could picture our society with, the 1%ers, the first class, high class people, while you have the middle class and the lower class. And I found that very interesting. What's really interesting about Black Clover, though, is just what really brings his appeal is the ability of making these interesting, complex characters that he makes it so easy to root for, and they're extremely well written. Like characters like Asta, who are based off of him, loud kid, no powers, but all these interesting characters like Yuno or Captain Yamashiro are just so vast and different that they all play a part in the story at some point. They all have their moments and they all have an interesting background, and they're just not there to look pretty or just be there to fill up space. Some of these characters are extremely well written, like Noelle, a girl who is extremely royalty but is able to break barriers and connect with the peasants and doesn't look down on them, except on Asta because she has a crush on Asta. And it's really interesting, and I really recommend people give it a try and watch. What made Tabata get into manga creating and manga writing was when he was younger. He found out what a manga creator was when he was reading as well as watching some of Akira Toriyama's work, Dragon Ball Z. Read some of the manga and watched some of the episodes of Goku battling Frieza in that Frieza arc. And it really inspired him to get onto that, get into that field and do something that he loved. And I really respect him for it because he loves the shonen genre so much and defines it, and I quote, as happy as hell, which brought him so much happiness and excitement in his childhood that he hopes that his work will have the same effect on future generations to come. I feel Tabata, who is a very soft-spoken man, and with the help of his wife and his editor, as he often credits and praises for helping him be motivated to continue his work, is a very underrated or up and coming artist that people need to know more about and look into his work, his panel styles, his storytelling ability, everything that he does, his interesting characters, and they all have similar themes to them. But the fact that he also loves manga as a whole, because there are characters that he takes, like Hiei from Yu Yu Hakusho. He'll take some themes of that and incorporate it into his stories and do something different with it. Or look at Dragon Ball Z and get an idea of, I want to make an arc and a story like this. And it's really inspiring. And his work is really well written and is reinventing the shonen genre. So, hopefully, this information interests you and to take a deeper dive into Yuki Tabata, and you might be surprised with what you see, and you might like what you come across.